What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Fifth Down Territory. You already know who it is. It's your boys at Stadium Rant. Tyler, at Shane Carter TX is back. Shane is back with us at Bahookie, Montana. Blake's always here, and at DL Stewart 503, always pulling out for you guys. And in a world that might be always sketch, welcome to a show that you can trust. Okay, every Tuesday.
Tuesday.
We got another mock draft for you guys this week. We're kind of shifting roles. We're going to do things a little differently. Everybody had a lot of feedback on our first one. So, as always, thanks for turning out. And, make sure to drop your picks and your predictions and stuff in the chat. And we'll factor all that in. And then we'll talk some news at the end. Stephon Diggs, little new AFC South rankings, which is so much more divisive, apparently, than I thought it was going to be. So, if you're an AFC South team, keep coping. If you're an NFC team, you probably just don't care that much. But yeah, it's draft season. Is it 19 days to the draft? Is what 15 days, something like that?
It is
16 or something. It's always on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Round one's always on a Thursday.
2 weeks, 2 days.
16. Okay, yeah, 16 days. So yeah, not a whole lot of time left for mocks. So, maybe we'll publish, I'm sure somewhere. Oh, as always, we're sponsored by Stadium Rant. And I'm sure we have some 7-round mocks over there. So if you're really interested about the real gems of the draft, those late seventh rounders, the future Brock Purdy's, make sure to check out some of our mock drafts over on stadiumrant.com. But
absolutely.
Bahookie, I think you're starting us off, brother.
Yeah, this is the easiest one of the night, Caleb.
What if it wasn't, though?
Word.
His odds are like negative 100,000. So you can bet $8 and win like an eighth of a cent or something.
Exactly that. Yeah, you have to win you have to bet like over $1,000 to win $1, something along those lines.
Look, in the business, they call that free money. Is it worthwhile money? No. Risk reward ratio for all you business majors. So at pick 2 of the night, I'm gonna mix this up. I think Jaden Daniels goes here.
Okay.
I don't think he falls to the Pats. I think this is where Jaden's gonna go.
Even with the reports that the meeting didn't go well with Washington?
I've seen so much smoke. I've seen that teams don't even have that big of a grade on him. I've seen that the Commanders really love J.J. McCarthy. I've seen that Drake May doesn't have a first-round grade. I
think J.J. McCarthy is the smokescreen. That's the smokescreen.
Yeah, I mean, Drake May, I think, was consensus 2 a while ago. I feel like it goes back and forth. But to me, if I'm the Commanders, right, if I can get something, like you're never going to be able necessarily to kind of compete with how the other teams are built in this division. If I can get a dual threat quarterback that's going to elevate my offense, I think I pull that trigger here.
All right, we're going to do it. We got a comment in here.
It makes sense, too, because Washington's under new ownership and in a new regime, so they need a splash. And Jane Daniels, to me, is more of a splash play than a Drake May.
I think he's the true contender to Caleb to win Rookie of the Year. I think May's really dependent on situation. I definitely think JJ's dependent on situation. But Jaden Daniels has that dual threat, going to put the yards, going to put the touchdowns up that gives him that, right? We need to bring people back in the building. We need to sell tickets. This is what does that.
It's also a match for Cliff Kingsbury as well. So, I think that's a good match, quarterback scheme fit there. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. Daniels a 2.
Well, I'll make it real simple then. The Patriots need a quarterback, the best quarterback available. Drake May is actually a nice little match for New England. They like those more traditional style players. And Drake May actually has some underrated athleticism. I think if you watch him play, he's really good at that pocket mobility, which is what I have to call it. I don't think he's a running threat like a Jane Daniels, but he has pocket mobility in that if he is under pressure, he's able to create plays in the pocket and extend the plays if need be. And considering that this, no offense to you, your offensive line is kind of being rebuilt, you might have to see a bunch of it this year. I think it was a good move to bring in the tight ends because rookie quarterbacks love tight ends. They need those tight ends. That's their go-to guys. Drake May of the Patriots, easy pick.
Yeah, so I went back today and I actually watched about 7 of his 2022 games, and every throw and run that he made in 2023. He's got sneaky speed, and they used him in a lot of RPO, running quarterback plays there. He's a playmaker for sure. I love it. One thing I just wanted to say real quick, I see a lot of people saying that the Pats might trade back to 6 with the Giants because the Pats aren't QB ready and the Giants want to move up for a quarterback. What makes the Giants QB ready? Darren Waller retired. There's no Saquon Barkley. Their best wide receiver is Darius Slayton. All they have is Andrew Thomas on the offensive line. I argue that the Pats are in a better offensive position than the Giants are. So, like,
I feel the truth of the matter is they're both not in good offensive positions.
This is true, but why would you move back because you're not QB ready to trade?
I think the biggest thing that you're going to point
QB
out
ready
with the Giants is that they were in the playoffs 2 years ago and won a playoff game 2 years ago. I know they had a really bad season, and I think that's, it has its point. But I think they'll regress towards the mean as far as injuries go this year. And I'm actually going to propose a trade here where the Giants move up with the Cardinals.
Okay. What are you going to give me?
So obviously take 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would give you a second rounder next year and then probably 47.
Not enough.
No, I'm all set with that. First rounder next year or bust.
All right.
Well,
make the second a first.
All right.
And then add a second in 2026 as well. Does it go that far?
No, it doesn't. So what I'll do here is I'll give you 71.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Who declined? Screw you. We're doing it. Okay. So
we'd love to know who they had declining that trade.
Yeah. Right.
And then I think here the Giants would take JJ McCarthy.
Wow.
Oh, yuck. Oh, I with no weapons. That's what you're gonna do.
I think they are out on Daniel Jones.
And a $50 million dead cap hit from Daniel Jones.
So the dude who had the best team in college football and needs the best team to succeed is going to go to the Giants and be successful. I don't see it, but okay.
Who arguably had the least amount of talent.
Correct.
Yep. No, I'm straight up. I get it, but I think this is a move they might make. I think it would be if a different quarterback fell, but
yes, Chris, it does suck that the Pats are in this point. And as a Pats fan, I've been tearing out my hair up until this point. And I'm going to continue tearing it out up until the selection's made. Okay. Bahookie, you're back up. Chargers.
Wow. That was crazy right there. So JJ McCarthy's gone. I don't think that it looks like it's as likely that the Vikings would be trading up here. So I think it's got to be either Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers, and I think after trading Keenan Allen, I think you got to take Malik Neighbors here.
You're not in on MHJ. We're just making sure you see him on the board here.
Yeah. You know what? Scratch that. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
Is the pick? I was gonna say. I was like, whoa.
I'm still blown away. I've just had Marvin Harrison Jr. locked in my head as a Cardinal. And so
in this instance, he would not be.
Sorry. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s here. Wow. Yeah.
My dynasty stocks for Harrison are going way up with that one. Because that's a great landing spot. So here we are with the Cardinals pick. They're picking at 6, and we're going to go Neighbors. So they get a first this year. They get 47 as well, a second next year. And they gave up 4 and 71. So the Cardinals are again having 2 firsts next year to build around Kyler Murray and this new regime. Totally fine with that. Titans are on the clock. Shane, is this you, bud?
This is me, and this is exactly what the Titans want. After they took Peter Skoronski last year, they switched him to guard, which I thought was the right move. Now they need to shore up that left tackle spot after Andre Dillard got cut. And lucky enough for them, they get to land easily the best offensive tackle in this draft, Joe Alt. So at the very least, if Will Levis is that guy, his blind side will be protected. So this should be a no-brainer.
All right, so the Falcons are here at 8. I got this pick here. I did a little mock couple before we started the show, and I had a trade that I wanted to offer. I believe it's to the Colts. Who has the Colts pick?
Pick 15.
Yeah,
Not me.
Louie. I think that's you.
Is that me? That's me.
15,
Yeah, it's me.
15.
All right,
Because
yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay, so
All right, so Shane, to move up to 8, I wanted 15, 46, and 117.
Okay, so your thought process is the Colts would want to trade up.
Yes.
Well, there's rumors they want up for Bowers.
Okay.
Or Udunze. I think Udunze, since he's here at 8.
Just real quick, on the Colts, what picks do they even have available? I'm not sure what their draft selection.
So
okay.
Here's the picks.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well I know to drop into the top 10, it would probably honestly be a little bigger than what y'all's trade was with the Giants. To be honest, I think
that's what I'm looking for.
A realistic trade would be this, just because I base it on past trades. And I'm not going to say – okay, so I think the Colts would offer 15, a round 2 for next year, so a 2025 round 2. They would offer this year's 4th.
117.
And probably an additional that might be a good start right there. But in exchange, they would get the first, but they would also request a day 3, a 6th-round pick, so 143.
I'll do that.
Yeah, because just because to get into the top 10, it costs you a lot. Sometimes multiple firsts. But if the top quarterback prospects are off the board, assuming those are the top 4, so you can hear my dog in the background. Then the incentive kind of drops a little bit. So and that to me seems like a fair trade, because even though the Colts gave up a lot, they at least get some back end help for depth. So that would probably be I think a good trade would be.
All right, let's do it. So you're on the clock here at 8 then with the Colts. So you're taking on Udunze or Bowers?
It's close, just because they do need receiver help, but they also signed Michael Pittman, and they drafted what's his face from North Carolina,
Josh Downs.
I think they'd rather have the tight end. I think Brock Bowers would be the better pick in this situation. I think Brock Bowers with the Colts makes a lot of sense.
I mean, just imagine JT, Bowers, Richardson, and Pittman. It's kind of nasty.
Well, plus he helps out in the running game too, and so
yes, exactly. Blocking help.
Right.
Yeah, and that Steichen offense, it's gonna be that would be a nice pickup. I think that was worth the trade. Honestly, I don't think Bowers falls to 15, and they still have pick 46 this year. So ideally, their thinking is they're going to be better this year than they were last year. So that second's going to be higher, lower. All right, good stuff.
Does Bahookie take both Bears picks? I think
I do.
No, yeah, because it's 9.
1 and 9.
Oh, they need defensive line help. They had a terrible defensive line. Sorry,
yeah,
it's your favorite.
They could go edge, they could go O-line, they could go tackle, they could go wide receiver. I feel like the Bears have a lot of holes. They could trade out of this pick and get more capital in the future. I think Odunze is a nice pick for the Bears here.
Even though they traded for Keenan Allen and they have DJ Moore under contract.
I wouldn't let a 32-year-old Keenan Allen coming off an injury stop me from taking.
Well, no, it's because they have draft capital to get him. Is all.
Yeah, I get you.
It was like what, a 4th-round pick or?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's a good trio for Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams really had a problem with the Bears' lack of weapons, they have weapons. They have a new built offensive line, so he doesn't have an excuse not to succeed at least a little bit.
Yeah,
everybody called me a madman.
I like the pick here. I
still think you are. I still think you are, but I mean, you can still be right and be mad.
I think that he's the best player available as well. So I think that that's where the Bears should be thinking, best player available. Because I agree with the defensive line help, but once they traded for Sweat, that defense like locked in. They have a great secondary, and like he played like a premier edge rusher. So I like the pick. So you going on Doomsday?
I think he's the best player available, and they'd be doing a disservice to their quarterback by not taking him.
Okay, I'm with it. So the Jets fans are crying here because Bowers went at 8. Well,
Tackle.
Louie, this is you, right?
Yeah, I'm going probably Fuega, maybe Feltanu. I think you take your pick. I have very little experience on offensive line grading, and so I kind of tend to stay away from it. So, Shane, I would probably defer to which one you would take here. Who's your 2?
So I think Fontenot is the better prospect. But for what the Jets need, because they signed Tyron Smith to a $20 million deal, they traded for Morgan Moses. The guard is what they would need more. And even though I think Fontenot has flexibility there, but I think Talisi Fuaga would be a good right tackle option.
Okay.
I think just because Elijah Vera Tucker is going to go back to guard, which is good. I think he would go with the player who I think at the very least plays guard this year, tackle next year. Fontenot to me is maybe – actually, not even maybe. Fontenot to me is the most physical offensive lineman in this draft, and I think has the length to play tackle, has the strength to play guard. And if you want to start him at one, move at the other, that'd be just fine. I think if the Jets were smart and they wanted to focus on offensive line, but someone they can move around a little bit if they needed to, Fontenot would be the guy.
I like it.
Let's do it then.
He's also the most athletic in the class, I would say, as well as strong. Like
I think
he's a beast.
You know, these offices usually have kind of rankings that fit their scheme. Like sometimes you have pull tackles or whatever. Or like, Shane's pointing out here, you need them to play at a different spot their first couple of years, and then you're going to kick them out to a different side. So I think they'll probably take with whoever situationally they feel like gives them the best chance over the next 2 years when Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing out there. So that's I think that's where we go.
Corcoran's waiting for the Bills pick so we can hear Bahookie's reaction to the Diggs trade because he just wants to watch the world burn.
Well, we're going to go through the trade at the end, so stay tuned.
You're up here at 11, correct?
That's me. So I'm actually wondering, like, right here is kind of interesting because the Vikings, Broncos, and Raiders could all easily take a quarterback here. But now the Giants took J.J. McCarthy, and that's assuming that those are the 4 quarterbacks taken. I actually have, believe it or not, a higher grade on Michael Penix than I do McCarthy. But I also think Penix would also fit probably better amongst these 4 teams in Denver over Vegas. And I think he actually O'Connell likes to run a spread look also. I guess it's – you know what? I mean, they traded so they get those 2 first-round picks so they can afford to take a quarterback here if they want to. I don't know who they have. Hang on a second. I need to look up who the quarterback would be if the season started today.
Sam Darnold.
It's like a bridge quarterback. So they actually could afford to take a quarterback here if they wanted to.
I think it would benefit Penix a lot because it's kind of like stepping back into the Washington offense. You have your 2 elite receivers. You have a great tight end. You have Aaron Jones, your back, a good offensive play caller.
Too rich for that spot, though.
I don't. I have a higher grade. I have a higher grade on him than I do McCarthy. I think Penix would have been more worth the pick than McCarthy. I just don't think Penix is like day one starter just yet type player. I don't think McCarthy's a day one starter type pick player yet either. But I would be fine with Penix went here to the. I'm just gonna do it. Penix. I'm not explaining. This was in my mock that we had in the group chat last night. I'm not gonna explain myself. I think he fits perfectly there. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. It ain't my job on the line.
All right, Bahookie, let's talk trade here. I actually have the pick for the Bills, but do you think the Bills would be interested in moving up here to 12?
Possibly. I think the Bills are going to be moving up. It's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah, but all the quarterbacks are gone, so who are they? I'm just kidding.
I think they could get a little scared about BTJ going somewhere in the mid-teens here, possibly the Jacksonville, possibly the Cincinnati if they decide to move on from T. Higgins. I see the Eagles taking him a lot. I've seen the Cowboys take him, so like I don't know. I look at the Broncos.
I'm not the shareholder in Buffalo's pick right now, so you have to talk to whoever that is.
It's me, so that's why I defer to you because I'm with the Broncos, so I don't want to talk to myself here.
I think 12 might be a little high for BTJ. You know, I've seen people have him as their wide receiver 4 or 5. I've seen some have him as like 8 or 9. I feel like they'd probably, assuming nobody jumps them, I think they'd probably target like 3 or 4 or 5 picks lower and try. I definitely think they're going to try and jump Jacksonville if they have him on their list. But
so is anybody else looking to move up here to 12? Because I'm looking to trade back at this point. I don't think Nix is the guy at all.
And who's the best player on the board right now? Switch back to players real quick.
It would probably be Newton for the team that's tackle from
Latu's still here. Who needs a tackle? I feel like is the real question. Like maybe the Saints want to swap up to 12. Sean Payton dials up some old connections because he needs, the Saints come up to get a tackle to replace Penning.
See, but look at the draft capital. They have no draft capital.
Yeah. It would cost you a first round pick, probably a third, and maybe even a late round pick next year.
Yeah, that's probably too much for them.
And I'm not a draft savant. I just know like based on trends.
What about the
cost one thing or the other.
What about the Seahawks moving up for Newton because their defensive coordinator is gonna he plays a lot with those interior pressure.
Or the Seahawks can move up for Nix.
That's true. Yeah.
They could.
I don't know that quarterbacks are going to go that high, but
all right. So if I'll offer, who's the Seahawks? The Seahawks is me too. God
yeah.
Damn it.
There you go.
You can guarantee your trade.
So I'm going to do 1681 and then 179. We like that? We think that's fair?
That's a bad trade for Seattle, so Denver would jump all over that.
Yeah. I mean, I would
give a first, a second, and a fifth in the same year. You didn't try and spread it out.
This is a third. 81's a third.
81's okay. Yes, 81's a third. Oh, you're right. I'm used to the same one, round two. Okay.
Yeah,
no, what I would say like Seattle would probably offer their third next year so they can have some draft capital for this year.
Okay.
If they're going to spread it out like that.
And maybe they give like 179 and 235. If you're not given anything, like maybe you add a couple or another late rounder next year. People wheel and deal with late rounders all the time.
Yeah.
And even Jim Nagy, the director of the Senior Bowl, said people are going to be moving in and out of these picks because there's just not that depth that people are looking for this year.
So this is the trade I think I'm going to go with. I'm going to do 16, 102, and a third rounder next year for 12 and 136. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's on point. I'm going to pick the player here, and it's going to be Newton as well. I don't think Nix is the guy. I think Nix is like a slightly more athletic, more of a douchey Mac Jones. So it's not good. I don't like it. 13. Who's 13 for the Raiders?
Blake is the Raiders.
Do the Raiders go Bo Nix?
If he's here,
also do 6 quarterbacks really go in the first round? There's only ever been like multiple 5 quarterbacks go in the first round. There's never been 6.
I don't think 6.
And also, do all 5 or 6 even deserve first round grades, or is it just quarterback?
Look, we do this every year. Like I am going to be honest. I think Will Levis was a better prospect than Bo Nix, and he didn't go in the first, and I don't think Bo Nix goes in the first.
I think Will Levis was a better prospect than J.J. McCarthy.
Look, I think a lot of people think that, but clearly NFL teams have him graded differently because that's what everybody's saying.
Do you think that they should go DB instead of Bo Nix?
I think they probably go secondary here.
I would definitely go. I would go.
I don't think they do edge.
I think if they did that, they would try and make a move for another team's starting quarterback on day 2 for trade. So
they got Gardner Minshew.
No, I'm saying because since the Giants took J.J. McCarthy, maybe they try and move off Daniel Jones. That's just an example.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's Darian Arnold.
Love that. I was going to say, so I keep hearing, because there's a bunch of draft buzz about McCarthy up here, and the one person will be like, he's been in the most pro-style offense, he's played under center the most, and been able to diagnose offenses and read coverages the best. And so, thinking that, you would think you'd be able to come in and start right away. And then somebody else, similar type draft analyst, will come in and be like, well, you're going to have to sit him for a year. It's like, which one is he? Is he the most pro ready, or is he going to have to sit?
The truth of the matter is that the media very rarely, of which we are members now, I guess, but we very rarely get quarterback pegs right after like the surefire picks. Like I remember years where we talked about, Malik Willis is going super high and Will Levis could go number 1 overall. And like, there's always these guys that we project. I think McCarthy's biggest thing is that, I think coaches like players who they know don't feel the need to commandeer the show and be the star. And I think McCarthy has that aspect, right? He was happy finding success in an offense that he was not the focal point of. And I think there's offenses in the NFL that would value that. And then I also just think they look at like Shane's talking about, they look at what he can do, not necessarily what he has done. I think he'll go top 10. I'd be shocked if he doesn't on draft night.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Wanted to see what you guys thought about this. So who has 14? Is this you, Louie?
Yeah, this is me. And definitely tackle here.
So are you going to go Fashanu or Fuega?
I'd probably just go Fuega.
Are you going right tackle or left tackle? Because that determines it.
Left tackle.
Fashanu
then.
Okay. Fuega is going to be a better right tackle prospect.
Okay, then we're definitely going for Fashanu.
In my opinion. It's your pick.
Trevor Penning, not it. We talked about this last week when we did this. I have absolutely no faith that Trevor Penning is going to pan out in this league. He reaches way too much. He's too physical almost. Like he wants the hit and not the set. And
they need to move him to guard, I think, personally.
Yeah, they might move him somewhere else and find some limited success, but he definitely can't be on an island. And so I think they'll look to protect Derek Carr after his injury-riddled season from last year.
Word. So I'm on the clock here. I know 15 was supposed to be Shane, but Colt switched up. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the dude who I would have taken at 8, and it's gonna be Dallas Turner at 15. They need an edge rusher. I think that Turner and the Falcons have kind of been connected all year. Turner gives me like Josh Allen from Jacksonville vibes, and I think that's a good player for them, and a need because their defensive line is getting a little older. All right, so the Broncos are back up here, and I'm looking at trade again because I just this team needs a lot. I don't think they're taking Bo Nix here. I think that they should be trying to recap some of that capital that they gave up for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton.
I think this is a good spot for the Bills to move up here.
Right.
You're right in front of Jacksonville. If you want BTJ, this is the perfect spot to get him.
All right, I'm going to do 20. I'm going to do 28 and 60. I'm sorry. I'm going to do 28 a second next year and 128.
Yeah.
And then I will give 102.
I think Buffalo might give up their own second and not Minnesota's.
They're going to keep that Minnesota second and trade their second.
Okay. So, yeah. All right. And then I have the Bills pick anyway, so we all know what's going down here. Brian Thomas Jr. goes to the Bills at 16. Bahookie, how do you feel? Feeling better? Not really, sorta, kind of.
Step one, yeah. It's the right move to make.
All right. And I think you're up here at 17, correct?
Yeah. So for the Jags, I'd probably think I'd be going DB here. Terry and Arnold's off the board, so I guess it's like a debate of who you have rated higher at this point. I think I'm gonna piss Louie off and take Quinion Mitchell.
No.
Okay. Yeah, he tested really, really well and had a good Senior Bowl. Or he was at Senior Bowl, I think. So
he's going to have to test really well to play in this division. Loading up.
Yep.
I think this is me at 18. 10,
I
14, 18.
believe
Yeah,
so.
this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have
Right
some
tackle.
questions.
Right tackle. They lost what's his face, Jonah Williams. They need a right tackle.
Right tackle feels like the right pick, but I'd also say depending on what happens with T, they might go wide receiver here. But I don't love anybody on the board at this, so I'm probably going to go right tackle here.
Yeah, this is what you're looking at, wide receiver. I think that BTJ was the tier break kind of there.
I think if he moves, that they'll probably net a second.
You can get a good receiver in the second round
from that, and then they'd probably go like Roman Wilson or something down there. So yeah, give me Fuaga.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Fuaga. I'm sorry.
I thought it was Fuaga too, but the guy himself said his name is Talisi Fuaga.
Fuaga. There we go. I said that wrong.
When the player says their name, not the announcer, when the player says their name, I'm listening to the player.
That's when we pay attention.
Yeah. What a sick name, by the way. Talisi Fuaga.
Is this my pick?
The Rams? Yes. 19 for the Rams.
Oh, yeah. They got to go edge rusher. Latu is actually pretty good value. I know he had like medical history and all that, but he plays like someone with the Rams like to run a primary 3-4 front, and he can do a really good he's a really good 3-4 edge. And just because like I think they've done a good job of building their offense really in later rounds. It seems like they prioritize defense more in their early picks just based on their draft history.
They just haven't made a first in like 5 years. It feels like.
Yeah, I meant their first, second, and third round picks. They usually prioritize. And also I think Verse is probably Jared Verse. I think he's better suited for a 4-3 team. So I like Latu to stay in LA with the Rams.
I like it. I like it a lot. That pairs them up with Byron Young and Kobe Turner. I think it is. I think that's their other edge rusher. Yep. So like that gives you three kind of. You can't replace Aaron Donald with one player, but if you have those three as a core, like that kind of gives you that similar type of production.
You can generate the pass rush you need to. You won't be able to stop the run the same way, but you can at least generate a pass rush.
Yeah. All right, I'm up here at pick 20 for the Steelers, and last year they went Broderick Jones, who's a freight train, and I'm going to give them another freight train on the other side, and I'm going to get Amarius Mims for them, who's a bit more of a project, but if he hits his potential, that dude's just like I said, he's a freight train.
And also,
if you got
I'm sorry, go ahead. You were talking, my bad.
I was going to say you have Arthur Smith there calling plays, so you're probably going to run a bunch of just run the ball a ton. So to kind of have your two bookends there and to have Russ kind of feeling protected, I think it's a smart play. So what were you going to say, Shane?
I was just gonna say that typically on the offensive line, if you're gonna go into a season where you're gonna start a rookie but maybe doesn't have a ton of experience, it's better to do it when they're not blindside anyway. And since he played most of his snaps at Georgia at right tackle, and he has a really, really good first snap off the ball, very fluid. He's 6'7", 330, moves a lot lighter than that. He just doesn't have a lot of experience, and that's like the only thing holding him back. So I like this pick. Yeah, see 6'7", 340, whatever it is. Like those things, like I think they weighed him at the combine at 331 or something. But no, he's very fluid. And since he's the right tackle, whether it's Russ or with Justin Fields, that's their focus. Not the blind side, the opposite of the blind side, whatever they call it. That that's a good fit.
Cool. I like the pick. I think it's smart for them. Yeah. So pick 21 here. I think this is Bahookie.
Yes,
it's Blake.
Bahookie.
Yeah, this has got to be an offensive line pick to me. If I'm the Dolphins, I don't really like either of their tackles. Tron Armstead's good when he's there, but he never seems like he's healthy for the big games. And then Austin Jackson,
they just signed him an extension though.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of those guys, and
you can
on line here.
I would say somebody you can slot at guard as well.
Yeah, I think you need someone. I think you need someone with flexibility. These top two guys both have flexibility, Latham and Barton.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go JC Latham.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. All right.
So that would be
Siri. I don't want to talk to you.
Not.
No, it's
I
not
think
mine.
this
Is
is Tyler.
I'm next. This is yeah.
My series geeking, guys. Sorry, I thought I was talking to it. I was not. So 22. This is
22 is me.
you, Louie.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting real confused. I'm the Eagles here. Man, this is tough. I think corner is probably where I would go. Too much investment in
Worst secondary last year.
Bad secondary. I know you're getting some guys back. I would say Nate Wiggins is probably my pick here, but Cooper DeJean could easily be it. Nate Wiggins is a lot of dudes CB1 overall. I think he's higher than I have him higher than PFF does. So I think this is good value. And with DeJean's medical concerns, I think I'd go Wiggins here.
I'm with it. I like Wiggins. Wiggins is he's going to be a big time player, I think. So their secondary is good, but it's aging as well with Slay and
Bradbury.
The other thing I would be tempted to do here that I don't think the Eagles would do is take a center to replace Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey.
I thought they would take a Georgia player.
Yeah, that seems to be the go-to draft strategy.
A good one.
Who's from Georgia?
So Shane, this is you, right?
Yeah, I'm deciding right now, and I'm deciding right now because the Vikings need secondary help, and they also need I don't know why it says tight end as a second option when they just signed
Hawkinson
to an extension. I don't know why that's considered one of the top needs, but maybe. But that'd be like
Neil Hunter also left. So
yeah, that's why I think defensive line. I think this is a good spot for Jared Verse. I think this is a spot where he can play the 3-4 5 tech. He can play a 4-3 3 tech. He has the flexibility to do that. I think he's very, very good against the pass. Solid against the run from what I saw. I think he's better suited on the edge than he is inside, but he can play inside. So yeah, Verse. Yeah.
Verse. All right.
That's great value by the way for the Vikings.
Yeah. I am looking to trade back here for the Cowboys
That's
a little bit.
The right call.
So who has the Detroit pick?
I have the Detroit pick.
All right. So 26, 24, maybe toss me
it would be a fourth. To go back that far, it's just usually a 4th round pick.
You're on the Bucks right now. You need to switch to the Lions.
Thought I did. Oh, really? All right. So, yeah, toss me a 4th next year and 205. You be interested in that?
Good.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Why not? Let's do it.
For the sake of the trade.
Right. Yeah. So, Lions, you're on the clock here, bud.
Edge no line is the top needs. What's up there?
Probably
you got Graham Barton.
Graham Barton, okay.
Good player.
You're taking a tackle.
Graham Barton only played tackle in college. He's going to be either a guard or a center at the next level. Sorry, I'm sorry, Ty, you were talking. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
No, now I'm getting a little scared with the trade back. I hope the guy that I want the Cowboys to take is still going to be there at this point. I thought that he would go cornerback or D line there for the Lions.
That's what I thought he would do as
well. The Cowboys have done so many visits and so many meetings with different offensive linemen. They're just going to take whatever offensive lineman falls. It's almost a 4-guy conclusion. They're going to go O-line in the first round anyway. So they were already going to expect to lose out on some guys. So this is expected.
All right. This you, Shane, 25?
No, I am the Cardinals. No, wait, I'm the Cardinals. I don't know who the Packers is.
25 is Blake.
Bahookie.
Packers.
Back to back.
I have O-line and DB. I think I'm going to go Cooper DeJean here.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Baby.
Yeah, I like that. I like DeJean. That's a good player.
I think that that landing spot gives him a little bit of time to get his sea legs under him. So, yeah, I like that. I like that spot. All right, Bucks at 26. This is you, Louie.
I mean, I love Byron Murphy here, but they took a defensive tackle in the first last year, so I don't imagine them double dipping.
He was kind of a
They're
tweener, though,
retired,
wasn't he?
huh?
He was kind of a tweener, though, wasn't he? He wasn't. I forget who they took last year.
Yeah, he's not big like Byron Murphy is, but I just can't imagine them double dipping at that position.
I can't remember his name.
You talking about Kalijah Cansey?
Yeah, Elijah Cansey they took last year. Did they have a really good offensive lineman like Ryan Jensen or something retired?
Ryan Jensen retired, and they had to use all their offensive line except for the tackle got hurt last year, so the offensive line's a big need for them.
I could really see JPJ going here. You guys tell me if that's crazy.
They need a tackle, they need a center, and they need a tackle and center probably first more than anything else. Yeah.
I mean, Guyton's there. I don't hate that pick, but I just feel like JPJ, barring injuries.
Can I say, just because you like some offensive line stuff? I will say this: they need a right tackle. In terms of pure right tackles, Guyton is like right there along with Talisi Fuaga because he played primarily right tackle Oklahoma. He has the athleticism to go left, but he's better suited to go right. And Jackson Powers-Johnson is a plug-and-play center. I mean, we don't really have to analyze JPJ all that much. So if you went with either one of these guys, they would be a day one starter for you. It's just a matter of if you'd rather prioritize the interior or the exterior.
They have Luke Godecki is currently their right tackle, and Robert Hainsey is their center. I don't know either one of those guys.
Robert Hainsey ain't bad. Luke Godecki, it would be a backup swing tackle on most teams. But Hainsey,
I'm probably going Guyton here.
All right. Shane, you're up for the Cardinals here, and the Cardinals already took Malik Neighbors at 6. So what are you going to do here?
Well, let's see. So they took care of their tackle in the offseason because now they have Paris Johnson at left tackle, and they signed what's his face from the Bengals,
Jonah Williams
at right tackle. So I think interior offensive line is a potential need. They also could use some defensive tackle help. I know the defensive line wasn't all that great.
I think they use a cornerback too.
Yeah, but Jackson Powers-Johnson makes a lot of sense here too. Real quick, I don't know who their starting offensive line would be right off the bat. I know they signed somebody else. Can someone look up their depth chart at the moment? Because I do not remember off the top of my head, and I can't look up because my hands are busy right now.
You're good. Okay, so their starting line for this year would be Jonah Williams at left tackle, Paris Johnson Jr. at right tackle is currently what's listed.
I think they'll flip that.
Will Hernandez is right guard. Hajalti Froholt is center, and Elijah Wilkinson is their left guard.
Okay, so they need the interior offensive line. Jackson Powers-Johnson makes a ton of sense here. JPJ to the Cardinals.
Well, that trade back is looking worse for the Cowboys now because I thought I was going to be able to get one of Barton, Guyton, or JPJ while moving back and getting some capital.
Yeah, that's the danger of picking the 20s is like you have to draft guys that you think can develop. And lucky enough, this is a great offensive line year, so they'll find somebody.
All right, the Broncos are on the clock here.
I think that's you.
Kind of, yeah.
You got
they've kind of gotten some capital back. I guess like
I
think what?
I'm sorry. I interrupted Blake.
I just said Bo Nix is still out there. I know you don't like him.
I think they could probably give him the second. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are reaching for Bo Nix.
You get the 5th-year option in the first round. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you're not sure about a quarterback, you want that 5th-year option even as an possible.
They don't have a second though. Do you think Nix falls to 76? I don't. But at the same time, I'd rather start Jared Stidham.
Well, I mean, you could take Nix as. I mean, here's the thing this is the same spot similar to when in 2016 they took Paxton Lynch and he sat for a year behind Trevor Siemian, never got a chance to start. So this right here to the Broncos is like, do they want to use a first on the quarterback this year, or can they wait a year, knowing they're probably going to be bad anyway, and try and find a better quarterback prospect next year? It's just like
who's on their D line? Nobody of note, correct?
Nobody.
All right, Byron Murphy here's the pick for me, and then here with the Cowboys,
it's gonna be an offensive lineman. So I'm just telling you that that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, so it's either Zach Frazier or Jordan Morgan.
I do like Zach Frazier. I like Zach
That's
Frazier
a
a lot.
big
Yeah.
boy.
I'm gonna do Frazier because I just think he has a higher floor than Morgan.
I love that pick.
Yeah.
3'10" at 6'3" is crazy.
I love him because I think people talk about Graham Barton as potentially switching over to center. I think as a pure center, Zach Frazier is better than Barton. I think Barton could potentially move there. I think Barton's best position is guard. That's my opinion. I love the fact that the Cowboys traded back, got some capital, and they are to land a center upgrade. So, as a Cowboys fan, I am upset about it.
Cool. All right, pick 30 here. Who's got the Ravens? I think that's you, Louie, correct?
So I'm gonna mix this up. I'm gonna take Xavier Worthy here.
Ooh, so it's all speed up in Baltimore, huh?
Yeah, I think they'll. I think there's better fits for their offense here, but I think they're gonna play a little bit of defense against Kansas City, and imagine like in conference who they would want least, the Chiefs, and I think they'll take that pick here. Or that's what I would do.
Yeah, sure.
So I personally think that A.D. Mitchell is a better player, and he's like a second slower, but like or not even a second slower. I'm sorry, a 0.1 of a second slower.
I mean, they tested similarly. I think on actual film, he's a good step slower than Worthy is. Like as a pure burner.
But he's still a 4.3 guy. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you're saying.
It's like you really like.
But what I'm really saying is, do we think where the Niners going to go here? If they trade Brandon Ayuk,
I think the Niners have to go defensive line. They made all those moves. Like you traded away a third for Chase Young for 8 games. You barely got anything out of that. And then you try and sign Randy Gregory. He did nothing for you. They need to go. I think. Let me see the edge rushers. Can you pull him up? Because I'm pretty sure my guy, one of my favorite defensive linemen, is still available. If I'm not mistaken.
Latu's still on there.
Is it Chop?
Nope, it's right. There's Robinson. There's Robinson, to me, might be the best pure defensive lineman in this draft. 6'5", 275-ish. He can play either the 3-tech in a 4-down system or a 5-tech or even a wide 9 if you run like a big spread on your defensive line. I think I think especially if you want to just develop someone off the edge across from Nick Bosa. And since what's his face? He used to be for the Texans, but he signed with the Niners as the edge rusher, and he missed half the season.
They lost what's it called? Eric Armstead as well.
They lost Eric Armstead. He can play that 3-tech when they run 4-man front. I love there's Robinson to me to the Niners makes a ton of sense.
Awesome. Yep, I'm with that. I think for the Chiefs pick here, I think they go Kool-Aid McKinstry and pair him up with what's his name?
McDuffie,
Trent McDuffie, because L'Jarius Sneed got traded.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a slam dunk for them. Yeah, he's a good man corner. He's tall. He's long. McDuffie's a little shorter, so I think that kind of gives them a little bit of versatility and back kind of remaking that secondary that helped them win another Super Bowl. So Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be the pick there. All right, guys, good job.
So one more thing I want to do on this mock that we didn't do last week. All right, so scroll down, show them everything. All right, so one thing I want to do is let's talk about how the 3 teams without a first-round pick feel about the way this round went.
Okay.
So, all right, Panthers have picked 33. You can see everything that came off the board. We know they're probably going offensively. So if you're the Panthers, and this is, bar for bar how the first round unfolds, how do you feel about your odds on day 2?
I'm personally thrilled because of A.D. Mitchell. I like A.D. Mitchell a lot. I don't think he's going to make it to round 2. So I think that's a good pickup for them. What were you going to say, Shane?
I don't even think the Panthers drafted 33. I think they use that as part of the package to either get Brandon Ayuk from the Niners or get T. Higgins from the Bengals. I think they're going to use that to grab one of those experienced receivers because they have such an inexperienced quarterback.
Well, they already traded for Deontay Johnson. Do you think they make another trade for another veteran?
I mean, would you want to go into the season with just Deontay Johnson as your option?
I mean, they have Adam Thielen. If you had A.D. Mitchell, I'd feel pretty good about that. It depends if you're giving up just 33. Then yeah, sure, I'd rather either one of those players to Mitchell. But if you have to give up more capital, then I don't know.
While your quarterback is on a rookie contract at the time, if you want to overpay for receivers, it's to do that because Deontay Johnson, like you said, is under contract. But I think you can get out of it either this year or next year. I don't remember the exact lineage of it. And with both Higgins and Ayuk, you're going to have to extend him, but the cap hit in the year one is going to be slightly lower. So after next year, you can move on from. I believe it's Johnson. I'd move on from him next year, and at that point, Thielen's going to be gone anyway. After that, but at the very least, you're giving your young quarterback experienced weapons to help develop him and gain his confidence, similar to what a lot of teams do for the rookie quarterbacks. Look what the Texans did for C.J. Stroud. They overhauled him with weapons to make sure that there was no way that he would be without some sort of target, and it worked out for him. And they gave him more weapons. They gave him Stephon Diggs, top 10 receiver.
I'm with you. All right, no, I get that. Louie, how you feel about the Texans at 42 now?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of up and down. More corners went in the first round than I would have liked. Same thing. I like Byron Murphy and Jerzon Newton, and if any of them fall, I would love to try and trade up for one of those guys if they slip into the second somehow. I don't think they will. So yeah, I mean, no safeties have gone yet, really. I think safety's in need.
I think if Tyler Newman falls to y'all from Minnesota, I think him with Petrie is actually a really nice pair of secondaries back there. Plus Newman, he can play the nickel if you want to do some dime looks with multiple safeties.
Yeah. So I think they'd feel okay about this. I don't think they'd be ecstatic. I think it's a defensive heavy draft, and I think just more defenders went in this. I think I would love the run on offensive line because I don't think they're targeting that early at all. Despite what popular media outlets will tell you, they are not drafting a right tackle after they just paid Titus Howard right tackle money. So if anything, it's guard and it's left guard. But I think Juice Scruggs goes there with Kenyon Green and Jared Patterson goes back to center. So,
and then the Browns is the last one. They traded for Jerry Jeudy, so I don't think I thought wide receiver was a sneaky need for them. I could see them going safety, honestly, and no true safety went off the board in round one. So I think there will be value there, like in the mid-50s. I feel pretty good.
They're concerned more with their quarterback right now than anything else.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I had somebody saying that. Well, I said to somebody that Penix right now, his floor, like pretty much at if it didn't work out for Penix, he would be looking like Deshaun Watson right this second. He's like, that would be okay with me. And I'm like, for the Pats, dude, Watson's played like 4 games in 3 years and hasn't looked great. Like, I don't know how you'd feel okay about that.
I got nothing to say.
Yeah, so Bahookie, talk about Stephon Diggs for a minute. Then Louie, you can talk about being happy about Bahookie's sadness.
Yeah, so I think first let's talk about trade compensation. How do you feel about what you got for Stephon Diggs? And then I give my perspective.
I'm not as sad as you might think I am. I think that it was a hard move to make. I didn't ever really think it was going to happen because of what the dead cap hit is, $31.1 million, most ever for a non-quarterback. That's a little bit of sticker shock. But then when you look at it and realize that means we're off the books for his $19 million in contract this year, and we're going to have an extra $27.3 million next year, we're going to actually have cap space to operate in the offseason for the first time in years and I can remember, since Josh's extension, honestly. And so this is just a shift, for the franchise. We're going from we needed that veteran receiver to lead Josh, and now we're gearing up with some younger guys. We're going to get younger and cheaper, and we're going to have someone on a rookie contract, and then there's a good chance we turn around and double dip and get a second wide receiver in the second round. Maybe Xavier Legette is the guy who I'm hoping for in the second round. If they up for him or whatever. But so on paper, are we as good as we were last year? No. I still expect us to win the AFC East. I don't think we should be Super Bowl favorites. Or anything like that. But game by game, we'll see. I'm not panicking. We've still got Josh Allen.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Chiefs got worse on paper last year too, and they did just fine. So I'm not worried about the Bills. I mean, I
gotta
was
go, y'all. I think I think she needs me to take her. If you know what I'm saying. Louie knows
All good, man.
About.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate
good,
you making it on, and you really helped us with your lineman talk. It was definitely helpful.
Yeah, you'll go follow
So.
Shane. He gives great. He's on the air down there in Texas, and he's the offensive line guru for us. So
I'm all right. See y'all later.
Later, man.
Have a good night, man.
As far as the Texan side of things, right? And I think I think Blake did a good job of analyzing it. I think people overreacted to kind of this trade on both sides, if I'm being honest. Because initially there was like all this talk of like, okay, the Texans fleeced them, whatever. I didn't think that was true then. But on the other end, I didn't swing super hard on my opinion of the trade after the restructure. So they cut the last 2 years off of Diggs' contract. So he's literally on a 1-year deal. But also what they did is turned his entire salary into a signing bonus, meaning he has like a 1 million cap hit for us this year.
Calendar year, he got so much money.
Yeah, he got a ton of money. Boy got paid. And then literally he's only a $1 million cap hit for us this year. So the Texans did all these restructures and then basically didn't spend the money on this trade. So I still think there's more to come. I don't think it happens until after the draft. I think they'll kind of wait and see what shakes and maybe part with some capital next year if they want to make another move, or if they end up signing like Quandre Diggs or something. I think they'll kind of wait and see how the safety market shakes out. But people saying Diggs is washed, I disagree with.
Not true.
And people saying that Diggs is like, okay, the new number one on the Texans, I also disagree with that. He's good. He is borderline great. I don't know that he's a top 10 receiver anymore, but he's definitely not a bottom. He's not outside the top 20. He's probably not even outside the 15. He's in that comfortable high teens range.
He's probably the 10th best receiver in the league. I mean,
he's borderline.
If you look at his first 9 weeks last year, you're like, that dude is still a top elite number one receiver. Then Joe Brady came in and they changed their offense. And I think that
they were 5.
He got into his own head.
They were 5-5 before, and then and then when Joe Brady came over, they lost the one game against the Eagles, and then won out until they lost in the playoffs.
I don't think it was a bad move to change how they were running games. I just think that Diggs got into his own head, and if he comes in ready to perform, I don't think it was a physical thing. I think it was a mental thing. I don't think he lost a step.
One other thing.
He and CJ, go ahead.
One thing I wanted to comment on, you asked me, and I did not actually answer, was about the trade compensation. The second round pick next year. And people were talking about, was that like, Bills got fleeced, Texans got fleeced, whatever.
It felt pretty even to me, if I'm being honest, but
he's 30 years old, going to be 31. To get a second round pick for a wide receiver is pretty good, I think. Like when we've seen like the Amari Cooper trade and the Jerry Jeudy trade,
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly. And something Brandon Beane commented on in his press conference afterwards is he kind of hinted that he was trying to get capital for this year, but there's kind of like a sunk cost for when it's so close to the draft, because you've invested all this time into these picks, not only the players, but so people are just kind of a little hesitant to move off of their picks this year. So he was able to get a little bit more going for a pick next year. And
I think if it was this year, it would have been a third.
Yeah.
And I think they compromised, and I think the Bills ended up eating a little bit more of his salary with getting that second, and obviously wiping out the deal. There's no comp return for the Texans if he walks next year, but we got a 5th and a 6th back, which I think kind of replaces that concept. So overall,
it gives him extra motivation too. He doesn't get to like sit on his laurels in his contract. I think it does.
I don't know if I subscribe to that philosophy, because he wasn't playing on those years anyway. Like, let's be honest, very little guaranteed money, heavily incentivized. Like, I don't truly think he would have played without a restructure no matter what. So what this does is this gives the Texans the flexibility to actually work contracts mid-season. So you don't have all this money bundled up in his restructure that you have to do at some point before you can talk to Nico Collins or anything like that. And I think he just slots in well as a complement to this offense. And I guess that's what I'm excited about. Like he runs perfectly, I think, underneath what Nico doesn't. And I think he's going to be a good complement to Tank Dell. And I think this is a top 5 offense in the league, not the AFC. I think this is a top 5 offense next year.
Yeah, Nick Caserio's cooking. Wish he never left. That's where I'm at.
Some respect on my man's name. They dragged him. Last year before the draft, people were saying they were going to fire him. They were going to let him do the draft because they didn't want to, do it without a GM, and no GM would take it that close, and then he was canned. All those rumors about him going back to the Patriots, and man's back like he never left.
Yeah,
he's been in his
I wish he came
those
back.
allegations.
Yep. All right, guys. Anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so. What do you guys think? We can, talk about this in front of our viewers, but what would you guys think about doing like a longer live, like a 4-round mock or even a full 7-round mock or something with some of the other guys as we get like the week of the draft or whatever that Tuesday? Do like an extended 2-hour episode and do like full 3 rounds.
I'm totally cool with that. It'll give us good prep for our live draft stream that we're doing for the first round. Because last year when we did that for the first round, it was like 4.5 hours. So it's going to be a nice prep for that show that's going to be on Thursday. We're going to have a bunch of guests for that as well. We're almost close. I think there's 4 teams we still need to fill for the Lions, the Bucks, the Seahawks, and the I think that's it, actually, because I filled the Cardinals spots. So we'll have guests coming on.
Yeah, definitely be tuning in. We're going to do a live draft night. I think, it's the biggest part of the NFL offseason by far. So make sure you're here for draft night. Make sure that's 16 days away. So 2 weeks from Thursday. Keep tuning in. We're going to be doing more draft content leading up. Let us know what you guys want to see. Do you want to see longer mocks? Do you want to see like a 3-round, or you want to see us build off of this one and just do 2 and 3 next week or something? So drop some recommendations. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Fit Down Territory.